Volume. Volume is the amount of space that a substance or an object occupies or that is enclosed within a container. I want you to take a second, pause the video, and I want you to copy down the equations for volume, the capital B, for these bottom figures. Now that you have those copied down, let's work through a few examples of solving for volume. So the first one is a cube. It says a standard die has a side length of 12 millimeters. Find its volume. So the equation for the volume of a cube is side cubed. So you're doing side times side times side. So when I do 12 times 12 times 12, I end up with 1,728 for my numerical value. Your unit, my millimeters, is always going to be cubed. It has a little 3 because you're multiplying the same unit 3 times. So millimeters, millimeters, and millimeters. So that's why it's cubed. If we look at example 2, it says find the volume of a Kleenex box with a length of 21 centimeters, a width of 11 centimeters, and a height of 8 centimeters. Our equation in this case is length times width times height. So my length is going to be 21 times my width of 11 times my height of 8. So when I multiply these three values together, I get 1,848. Again, my unit of centimeters is going to be cubed because you're doing centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. For example 3, finding the volume of a soup can. The equation for this is pi radius squared height. So again, I'm multiplying everything together. We're going to use 3.14 for pi. So I have 3.14. It says the soup can has a diameter of 8 and a height of 12. So I have 3.14 for pi times my radius. So if the diameter is 8, we talked about the diameter is twice the radius. So in order to find the radius, I'm going to do my diameter divided by 2, which means my radius is really 4. So I'm going to plug in a 4 squared, and then times my height, which is 12. So when I rewrite this, I now have 3.14 times 16 times 12, which is going to give me a value of 602.88. Again, my unit of centimeters is going to be cubed. Because pi doesn't have a unit, this one doesn't count. I have radius times radius, that's 2, times my height, which is 3 of the same unit. For example 4, the equation for a cone is pi radius squared height divided by 3. So when I plug this all in, again I need to find my radius because it says the diameter is 2.6. So if I have 2.6 and I divide it by 2 to find half, I get 1.3. So when I plug everything in, I have 3.14 times 1.3 squared times my height is 6, and that's going to be divided by 3. So if I continue solving things through, I get 3.14 times 1.3 squared is going to give me 1.69, and then I'm going to multiply it by 2 because 6 divided by 3 is 2. Then finally, when I multiply all three of these numerical values together, I get 10.6. My unit of inches is going to be cubed. Again, pi doesn't have a unit, so I have radius times radius, and then times my height, which is your 3 pieces. This 3 in your denominator doesn't get a unit to divide. The next example is going to be of a sphere. So it says a woman's basketball has a diameter of 9.2 inches. Find its volume. The equation for the volume of a sphere is the fraction 4/3 pi radius cubed. So as you can see, the fraction of 4/3 doesn't have a unit. Pi doesn't have a unit, but I'm doing the radius 3 times. So that's going to be my 3 for my exponent, because I'm doing radius times radius times radius. Again, I have a diameter of 9.2, so when I find my radius, I get 4.6. So when I plug everything in, I get 4 divided by 3 times 3.14 times my radius, 4.6 cubed. So again, when I keep solving this through, I get 4/3 times 3.14, 4.6 cubed is going to give me 97.336. And now when I multiply all 3 of these digits together, I get 407.5. My unit was inches, and we have to remember to cube that. And the last example, for example 6, it says the Great Pyramid of Giza has a length of 438 Egyptian royal cubits. That was the earliest measurement in Egypt when they were making these pyramids. And it has a height, specifically a height of 265 Egyptian royal cubits. Find your volume. So if we have a rectangular pyramid, that means our base is in the shape of a rectangular or a square. The way we're going to do it is side square. So 1/3 side squared times your height. So I have 1/3 my side value, so it has a length of 438, again squared, times my height, which was 265. Your height is from the very center down to your base, if you were thinking about inside of the pyramid. So now when I plug in my 438 squared, I get 191844 times 265, and this whole answer is going to be divided by 3. If I continue solving, if I plugged all of this in at one time, 191,844 times 265, all of that divided by 3, I get 16,946,220 Egyptian royal cubits cubed.